Hi teens! Welcome to another sewing program with the Uniondale Public Library. This is Mrs. Mullen, and today I'm going to show you how to make these really cute heart coasters. By now, you should have picked up your sewing materials from the Uniondale Public Library. Within your bag, you will find 2 pieces of fabric. Each piece is about 5 by 5. You will also have a piece of scrap material. You will also find some batting to give your coaster a nice cushiony feel. You're going to find a needle, some thread, a heart-shaped cutout to use as a guide, and some embroidery floss. At home, you will probably need a pencil and a pair of scissors, and if you have them, some pins to hold your materials. The embroidery floss may require you to have a bigger needle if you cannot thread the floss with the needle that's in the bag. Hopefully though, you will. This is a hand-sewn project. However, if you have a sewing machine at home, you can also use your sewing machine to make the sewing go by a little quicker. Take your 2 pieces of fabric and decide which one will be the top and which one would be the bottom. I think I'm going to make this one my top piece. You're going to take your heart template, pick a spot wherever you like. I'm going to put mine here. And you're going to take your pencil and lightly trace around, just enough so that you can see the pencil marks. I would recommend not using a marker. It can bleed through the fabric. A pencil should be good enough. There you go. Next, you're going to take your scissors and cut the inside of the heart out. You're not going to cut too close to the edge. You want to kind of make a little hole and cut out the middle. It should look something like this. Okay, here's the heart part. You have to cut the heart a certain way in order to get the shape to show up. You're going to make your cuts in certain places. First, in the middle, where the heart has that point. Next, you see this is a straight line. In the corner, you're going to make a cut right where there's a corner from this line to that line. You're going to go to the next corner here and make a cut. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Make a cut in that corner. Here's our other corner. I'm going to go a little diagonal. You're going to turn your piece. And you're going to see there's a corner here and a corner there. Corner, corner. You're going to make cuts in each of those corners. Turn your piece, make a cut in the middle of the line, Turn your piece, corner, corner, make a cut in the corners of the bottom of your heart. Turn your piece. Where the straight line's at, you're going to make a cut. Turn your piece. Corner, corner. Make cuts right in that corner. And now we're done. Now when you sew, you always need your iron to make sure that your fabric remains intact and flat. After you finish cutting out the slits for your heart, you're going to turn it over and using your iron, you're going to iron back each piece. Leave the tip of the heart for last. Here's a tip for you. Turn it back over and make sure you don't see the lines. If you do see a little bit of the lines, it's no problem. You can leave them, or you can cut a little bit more just to push that back. Turn it over and iron. Once you're happy with how the other side looks, let's do the tip. You're going to fold it diagonal so that it creates a little corner or tip there. So let's fold it again. Diagonal. Then take the other little piece and go diagonal to create my tip. Press it down. Turn it over to see how it looks. Look, there we go. Tip that corner in. And press it down. After pressing down your heart, you can cut off any extra pieces that stick out, like so. There we go. We have our heart shape. Now you're going to need your piece of batting. You're going to need your piece of scrap fabric and a needle and thread, or your embroidery floss, whichever you prefer. You're going to place the scrap on top of a portion of the batting, and then you're going to place your heart on top. Now I want to center these books a little more, so I think I'm going to move mine over and try to center my heart over the books. You play around with it until you get it to a point that you like. Once you have your fabric situated, you're going to take your iron, lightly press it down, then take your pins and pin it. You just need a few pins for this. Let's do one more. We're ready to go. Now that we're done pinning, you're going to take your needle and thread, or your needle and embroidery floss, like I'm going to do, and you're going to stitch all the way around, staying close to the edge as much as possible. Try to make your stitches straight. However, if they're not perfectly straight, that's okay. If you are not sure how to use a needle and thread, please go and look at our previous sewing videos to find out how to do that. For embroidery floss, you only need one string. You don't have to double it like you would do with a needle and thread. You also don't have to make a knot at the end. All you do is find a place to start, pull the floss through, and just hold it with your finger at the end. When you put in your next stitches, you're going to cover the back with more stitches. That way you don't have to make a knot. See? I'm going to make the next stitch right at the end of my first stitch. Do that all the way around. So now I'm finished embroidering around my heart, and I'm going to do my special knot to close off my sewing. You're going to put your needle through the loop that was just made and pull. If you want instructions on how to do this, please look back at our previous sewing videos to learn how to do that. Now you're going to take your other piece of fabric, your back, and you're going to put the right sides together. Right sides together. Flip it over to the batting side, and you're going to take your needle and thread, and you're going to sew all the way around. If you like, you can take some pins and pin the fabrics and the batting together. When you sew around though, make sure you leave a gap. So if you start here, go all the way around and then stop about right here. You need a gap because we're going to need to flip this inside out. Once you finish stitching all the way around, you're going to take your scissors. Oh, and please remember, leave a gap. You're going to take your scissors and cut the extra fabric on the corners. just like that, on a diagonal angle. Then you're going to gently start turning it inside out, using your fingers to push the fabric through the gap. If you can't get the corners perfectly, you can take a pencil and push the corners out. Gently. You don't want to go too hard because you don't want to put a hole in your material. Once you have it turned inside out and the corners poked out to the best of your ability, you're going to go back to your ironing board and press your fabric down. The area where there's a gap, you're going to gently fold the fabric in neatly. Take your iron and press that down. If you see any threads, you can just take your scissors and cut them off. Now we are ready to close our gap. We thread our needle, not the end of our needle. And this time, instead of just closing it across, like we did in our previous videos if we had a gap, I'm going to show you a more advanced stitch called the invisible stitch. You're going to take your needle and put it right in the seam. The seam is where the fold is at. It's a little tricky to catch it at first, but I'm sure you could do it. You're going to pull that through to hide the knot, or you can just cut that extra little piece off. Then you're going to go right across into the blue seam. Pull it through. Do the same thing and go across in the white part of the seam. Go back to the blue, and you're going to go back and forth working in those seams. Now I'm back in the white. And as you're going along, pull it so that the threads become invisible. Go back in the blue. Go back in the white. Once you reach the end, you're going to take your needle, pull it through a little tiny bit of fabric, and make a knot. Make a loop, pull it through. Do that one more time just for safe measures. Oops. Make a loop, put your needle through the loop, make a little tiny knot, and then poke it through the back of the fabric and cut your string. And that's the stitch. Nearly invisible. You're going to go back to your ironing board and press. And there's your coaster. This is a cute project that's handmade that you can use for family, for friends, to put your own cup of tea, juice, milk, soda, whatever you have. This project helps you to practice your sewing skills and improve. But guess what? In your sewing kit, there's another set of fabrics and batting for you to make a second coaster. See how you improve creating a second one. So happy sewing from me, Mrs. Mullen, and the Uniondale Public Library Teen Space.